Mumbai News Center, I'm Sonal Bhutra and you're watching Power Breakfast. Those are the top headlines that we are tracking today. A fresh new week, fresh new cues as well. But as always, first up, let's take a look at the Asian markets, taking positive cues from the US markets. They are largely higher in trade today, barring Hang Seng, which is coming for some profit taking. That one is down 0.7%. Taiwanese index, however, is up 0.7% as we speak. And it's only the Hang Seng and Shanghai which are seeing some cuts right now. Nikkei is up 2% in trade today. There is Straits Times sitting with gains of 1.3%. Kospi also is higher by 1%. So across the board, there is more selling than buying, and gains are also coming in at higher levels. So it's a 2% uptick as far as the Nikkei moves are concerned. As a result of all this, the SGX Nifty is indicating a strong start for our own markets. 174-point uptick. It's a gap-up opening that we can expect for our own markets above that 18,000 mark. So let's see whether we conquer that mark again or not. But let's talk about the US markets, because that's where the rally really is the reason which fueled the rally in Asian markets today. Wall Street ended Friday's session higher with Dow Jones, S&P and Nasdaq closing over 2% higher. The tech-heavy Nasdaq was day's outperformer, ending nearly 3% higher. CNBC's Christina gets a wrap of all the action on Wall Street.
Stocks moved higher today as an inflation gauge closely watched by the Federal Reserve stayed within expectations. The Dow closed almost 830 points higher today, ending its fourth winning week in a row. It's up almost 11% in October, its best month since 1976. And the S&P finished 2.5% higher today and 5% higher this month. The Nasdaq gained almost 3%, and that was driven by Apple's earnings report because it wasn't as bad as what people had been seeing from other tech companies. Weakness in the sector kept the index roughly unchanged for the month. And Elon Musk is now in charge at Twitter, finalizing his reluctant $44 billion purchase of the company. The former CEO and other top executives are out, and Musk says he won't be restoring any blocked accounts or making any major decisions about what can and can't be tweeted until he convenes what he's calling a content moderation council. That's the action from the U.S. market. Back to you in Mumbai.
All right, that's all the action from the US markets. In fact, let's now listen into some important opinion on the market coming in from Sherry Paul of Morgan Stanley.
We are at a moment where it feels like we're sort of, in a relitigation of the definition of civility, both domestically and internationally. And I only mention that because it's really weighing on the hearts and minds, I think, of investors. And what we want to help investors do is separate that from the fundamentals of what good investment strategies look like. And the bottom line is that every market setback presents us with a new opportunity to find great money outcomes. And in this market, we're being presented with an opportunity that we haven't seen in decades, which is to provide the stability of income to a client portfolio, and frankly, what feels like to a lot of investors an unstable world. The right move is to start to unpack the S&P 500. So you mentioned industrials, and take a look at the sectors on an equal weighted basis instead of a market cap weighted basis. The signal will be that we should see, I think, probably a 5 to 10% pop. That's what happened this summer. This is a balanced market. So too much of a good thing can be a bad thing. And investors should be right down the middle on this market between income and growth.
Okay, all right, that is some expert opinion coming in on the US markets, but let's now get to the final update on our global market wrap this morning. European markets ended the week mixed, with the French CAC finishing 29 points higher. We also had the German DAX up 32 points, while the British FTSE closed 26 points lower. That is on Friday. The Russian central bank kept interest rates unchanged at 7.5%, citing inflation expectations and geopolitical uncertainty following the partial mobilization of Russian troops into Ukraine. The move to hold rates ended a cycle of several months of cutting that began in April. Meanwhile, the German economy grew 0.3% quarter-on-quarter despite high inflation and energy concerns, against estimates of a 0.2% contraction. Okay, all right, all the global market action that we just spoke about, but of course they'll impact our own markets in some way. So let's get in our research team. They're joining us with the trade setup, the stocks that are likely to be in the news, and the action from the F&O space as well. Hey guys, a very good morning to all of you. Vivek, a fresh new week, a fresh new day. Tell us, what is the market setup looking like today?
Well, good morning. An action-packed week, awaits us. A lot of action in terms of, both economic front as well as, back home earnings as well. Most important would be to watch, of course, the FOMC meet outcome. U.S. markets are poised to end this particular week with substantial gains, and this is something that bodes quite well as far as equity indices are concerned. Most of the U.S. markets, in fact, the Dow Jones has gained over 5% for this particular month itself. When you're talking about European markets ended Friday's session on a mixed note, and if you're talking about the European markets, again, quite a lot of action there, quite a lot of volatility there. But despite that, most of the European markets actually ended the session off the day's low. Coming closer home, especially when you're talking about gold prices and commodity prices, gold prices went down over 1% on Friday. And when you're talking about crude oil prices actually, when you're talking about it, are trading near the $90 per barrel mark, and this is again something that we need to keep a close eye on. Closer home, when you're talking about the important cues as far as results is concerned, today 3 important results are there. Infrastructure major L&T, Bharti Airtel, as well as Tata Steel are the companies that will be delivering the results. And another important event to track as far as the economic outcome is concerned is the interim RBI meet. This is something that markets will be keenly anticipating in terms of the commentary. Also, keep an eye out for on the SGX Nifty, indicating quite a substantial gap up as far as the Indian markets are concerned.
Oh, yes, it is up 182 points as we speak. Vivek, thank you so much for all those cues. Let's talk about stocks now. Surbhi is joining us with the list of stocks that will be in focus today. Good morning, Surbhi.
Quite a few result reactions to track this morning. The first one is Dr. Reddy's, where the company reported highest ever revenue and EBITDA. The revenue grew 9.4% and the EBITDA margins came in at 31% versus 27% same time last year. Indian Oil Corporation, big beat on estimates led by the LPG grant given by the government. The revenue was down 7%, but the EBITDA was up 44%. Next is NTPC, where the profitability came in below estimates, but the average realizations have risen from higher mix of imported coal. Next is Tata Power, where the company reported strong results across verticals. The EPC segment saw margin improvement on a year-on-year basis. Next is JSW Energy, where it was a muted operational quarter. The revenue was up 14%, but the EBITDA, that was down 4.3% on a year-on-year basis. Vedanta, the numbers were mostly in line with estimates. The revenue came in at 36,600 crores and the EBITDA came in at 7,700 crores versus a CNBC poll of 7,300 crores. IFB Industries, where the revenue was up 14%, but the margins came in at 6.3% versus 7.1% same time last year. And lastly, Lupin, where the US FDA inspected the company's Nagpur facility and issued 5 observations to the company.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot for that, Surbhi. And let's talk about F&O now. Manglam is joining in with all those cues. Hey, Manglam.
Good morning. So it looks like it will be a stellar morning for the bulls because that's what the SGX Nifty is indicating. 18,000 plus as far as the open is concerned on the SGX Nifty, a 180 point bump up. The question, however, is what you do after that. Well, I'll be watching out for a couple of cues. Well, on Friday, we saw the FII sell about 600 crores in the cash market. DIIs went ahead and bought. So net institutional inflows were on the positive side. That trend continued. However, remember last week was a truncated week. We had a lot of holidays, etc. So gross volumes on the lower side on Friday's trading session. So when that recovers today, will be interesting to see which way the trend moves. Early days in the series, on day 1 of the series, FI sold about 624 crores in the cash in the index future space, where they added about 5,900 shorts. Remember, they started the series with 59% long exposure. That's now just gone down to around 57%. No worries there. They still remain net long on the index. However, the interesting data points came in from the index option space, where they bought more calls than puts, hoping for a bit of an upside. But at the same time, they also sold more calls than puts. That's telling you that upper levels would perhaps see some bit of congestion. Where would that congestion be? Well, 17,800, 17,900 as well as 18,000 calls together saw over 30 lakh shares being added in open interest, and that would be the interesting test to watch out for in today's trading session, because the SGX Nifty is indicating a start upwards of 18,000. Will there be call writers covering their positions above 17,950 is the big question we need the answer to. And at the lower level, you know, 17,700 and 17,800 puts have seen some writing. So the question is, have support levels moved higher to 17,650 to 17,700? So that's the setup from the F&O space.
All right. Okay. Mangalam, Vivek. Welcome back. Let's talk about an exclusive now. Sources say that the government-appointed panel on gas pricing has sought more time to submit its report, as it is still in the process of receiving submissions from stakeholders. Parikshit Luthra is joining in on the phone line with all those details. Hey, Parikshit.
Well, yes, we had been hearing that the government panel was supposed to submit its report by the first week of November, and they were supposed to hold their final meeting on the 31st of October. Sources now telling us that the committee needs more time. They have received a lot of stakeholder submission, and more submissions are still coming in, and they need time to analyze that feedback, as this is a complicated issue affecting the lives of many people. So yes, there could be a final meeting on this in the next 7 to 8 days. This is what sources tell us. At the same time, the committee is working with an objective to help the government, help the country increase the production of domestic gas. We are also getting an indication that the committee will try and come at a formula which helps to give gas to the agriculture sector, to the household, to the vulnerable sections at an affordable price. There have been submissions from the automobile industry also to keep CNG prices under check, but a decision on that is yet to be taken. There have been some reports that the final price would be set at $5 to $6 per MMBTU, and that would be a cap. But we hear that a decision is yet to be taken, but the committee will submit one final comprehensive report to the government probably in the next 15 days or so.
Okay, all right, Parikshit, important update out there. We'll keep coming back to you for more, but that's what is happening as far as the gas pricing fixing panel committee is concerned. With that, let's move on and stick to commodities now. Manisha Gupta is joining us with all the update from that space. Hey, Manisha, good morning.
Hi, morning. And, all eyes on the Chinese numbers. The non-manufacturing PMI has fallen to a 5-month low. And when you look at the China manufacturing sector, that completely and clearly has missed the market forecast and has declined to 49.2. So even as many commodity markets started slightly in the positive, we've seen all of that give up on their profits right now. So the crude oil prices are now trading below $96 per barrel. We did see prices gain 3% in the previous week, and which was a second weekly gain. And crude prices, even with this decline right now, are headed for a first monthly gain. But the markets have seen a bit of a beating right now. So not just crude oil prices, the metal prices also have seen a bit of a decline after the Chinese numbers. Copper prices, after putting a third weekly gain, have declined below $3.5 per pound. The Chinese industrial profits have declined. The U.S. economic data has been on the stronger side, and that is the reason markets do feel that you might be looking at a U.S. interest rate hike. That is factored into the market. But apart from that as well, it is going to be about the central bank meetings in UK, Australia, Norway, Malaysia, all of that in this week. You also have to react to Europe GDP and inflation data. That comes in this week as well. So a very loaded, eventful week this is going to be, and the commodity markets really have started in a very choppy way in this week.
Okay, all right. That is all about commodities. Manisha, thank you so much for getting up to speed with all of those cues. With that, we'll slip into a break now. Up next, more national and international updates will follow on the other side of this. You're watching Power Breakfast on CNBC-TV18. Well, let's get you some tragic news that we got over the weekend. Over 100 people have died after a cable bridge collapsed in Gujarat. The incident took place on the Machu River in Morbi district. Rescue operations are currently underway, and the administration, with the help of locals, are engaged in rescuing people who fell in the river after the bridge collapsed. CNN News 18's Siddhant Mishra is joining us live from the tragedy site.
Well, yes, we are at a tragedy site, ground zero, and next to the bridge which was collapsed yesterday. You can see this is the hanging bridge which was made in the year 1887 by the then ruler of this area, and since then it is being maintained, it is being repaired by the local administration. Now, I have spoken to locals out here in Morbi, and they are complaining to us that this bridge was weak. It was not fit to be used. Then government decided to get it refurbished, renovated. And for that, contract was given to this one company, Oreva. And you can also see the promotional hoarding of Oreva right there on that tower. Now, this company was given the contract, and 5 days back, 4 to 5 days back, this bridge was inaugurated, was again started for the common public. And there was a fee system also. 12 rupee for children and 17 rupee for adults. So after renovation, people got this confidence that the bridge is fit now to be used. So this was a confidence that people had because it got renovated by a private company. But this unfortunate and tragic incident happened because it was overloaded, overcrowded yesterday. As you know, that festival season is going on in Gujarat. After Diwali, it's New Year for Gujaratis here in Gujarat. So most of them come to their native places. They take part in events and festival celebrations. Yesterday also, many of them were returning after offering prayers to Chhat Maiya. Then they have come to take part in the other celebrations that were happening in the Morbi town. So this bridge connects Morbi 1 to Morbi 2, and a very, very significant bridge. And this is perhaps the reason that this bridge was maintained by the local municipal corporation. But yesterday, this bridge got overcrowded. There were too many people, more than 150 people. This is what eyewitnesses have been telling us. In fact, I did speak to one eyewitness this morning at a hospital. He confirmed this to us that some of them were kicking the cables also yesterday of the bridge.
Siddhant,
so in fact, all those things are the part of an investigation which will be carried out by Gujarat Police and the
Siddhant,
SIT. Back to you.
Okay. Siddhant, thank you so much for getting us all those details. Really a tragic event that has taken place. But let's also do one thing. Here is a word from the Morbi Range Inspector General Ashok Yadav.
अभी तक जो टोटल डेथ का आंकड़ा है, एक सुबह दुखद अवसान हुआ है और इस दुखद अवसान के अंदर अभी तक 141 लोगों की डेथ हो चुकी है, 2 व्यक्ति अभी तक मिसिंग है। पुलिस ने इसमें तात्कालिक इसमें फरियाद दाखिल की गई है, एफआईआर दाखिल हुई है और पुलिस द्वारा भारतीय दंड संहिता के जो स्ट्रिक्ट सेक्शंस है उसके अनुसार इसमें गुना दाखिल किए गए और हमारी स्पेशल इन्वेस्टिगेशन टीम इस पूरे प्रकरण को देख रही है।
Okay, that is all that happened in Morbi, but some more tragic news, so to say, and it is from around the globe. South Korea is mourning its deadliest tragedy in years after 154 people were killed in a Halloween crowd crush in the capital city of Seoul. The tragedy happened on Saturday night when a massive crowd of partygoers crowded in a narrow alley in Seoul's entertainment district. A government probe is underway to determine the exact cause of the accident. Okay, with that, some more global updates now. Brazil's former leftist president, Lula da Silva, has sealed an astonishing political comeback, beating the far-right incumbent Bolsonaro in one of the most significant and bruising elections in the country's history. With 99% of votes counted, Silva, a former factory worker who became Brazil's first working-class president exactly 20 years ago, had secured 50.8% of the vote. Bolsonaro, a firebrand who was elected in 2018, received 49.1%. Okay, that's all the update that we have on Power Breakfast today, but do stay tuned. All the market updates coming up on Bazaar Morning Call.